Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about an exotic class item for the hunter and just how really fun this build is. It's based around the dodge melee build, but we are using the relativism cloak with Spirit of Galanor and Spirit of Symphoseps. So super hits return super energy, and Spirit of Symphoseps improves melee damage when you're surrounded. So because of the nature of this build is getting up close and punching people and then dodging and punching people, the Spirit of Symphoseps helps get more damage on enemies. Not that it's really needed, but it's always fun to have extra damage. So punch dodge with combination blow. Every time you get a kill with it when it's fully charged, you will get your class ability back. Then your class ability, when you dodge near enemies, will get your melee back. So you're just constantly going and going and going over and over again. So for the grenade, I go with the Dustfield grenade. It helps with just freezing people. It helps with getting your Transcendence Dark energy, and it goes with one of the fragments where freezing or suppressing a target reloads your equipped weapons and increases stability, aim assist, and airborne effectiveness. Just an extra little thing to throw on, and then when you defeat them, you get stasis shards, and those stasis shards will restore your melee. So if for any reason you're out of rotation with your melee dodge, you can try and get it back pretty quickly using this method and collecting the stasis shards when you are freezing people. The super for me, Silence and Squall with the Galanor class item, is the most consistent to be getting your super energy back with. And in the right circumstances, you can get half your super bar back instantly and then use the rest of the build to get your super in less than a minute. When it comes to Golden Gun, you get 3 shots with it and you just don't get any energy back at all. The Storm's Edge, the new one, you have to hit all 3 bang on perfect. So if you miss one of the Arc's Edge slightly, you will not get a lot of energy back. Tether, also really good. It's like an Orpheus Rigs, but not as consistent with the stasis one, because once you first tether, whoever is attached to that very first tether is what leads to getting your energy back. So you have to tether like 10 enemies to get half your super back, and of course it's not damaging, it's just a tether. The Cell Strike I haven't really tried it with, to be honest, but for the most part it just hasn't been consistent as the Silence and Squall for getting your energy back. And the Spirit of Galanor is hits and final blows. So the hits of the swirling tornado of stasis will add towards getting your super back, and then final blows of it, which can happen, also return it too. So for the aspects, we're going to go with Winter's Shroud. Dodging slows nearby targets. You're going to be close to people dodging anyway. You might as well slow them down and throw on a debuff. Plus, if you do this 3 times in a row, you can freeze them solid and just do more damage. And then to add to this, and actually kind of takes away a little bit from building your super up, but you want to have a fun, well-rounded build, we go with Threaded Spectre. Activating your class ability leaves behind a decoy made from strand, which turns into threadlings when they die. Because you're constantly melee dodge, you can have 2 Threaded Spectres up pretty much at any one time, and I believe they kill each other as well, or the damage that you're doing from your dodging that's putting slow on enemies will break them and do incredible amounts of damage with the threadlings. But then it takes away from dodging nearby enemies, which is what we use to build up the super, and that can be a bit of a pain, but it's just a fun build all around, not just based on super. Then we go for Facet of Devotion. Defeating targets afflicted with stasis or strand, bonus light transcendence energy. You're going to be dodging and putting debuffs on people and then just killing them and stuff, so you're going to get your light transcendence energy. We have rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness, or you get an elemental pickup. The elemental pickups you'll probably get most of, depending on what weapons you use, are stasis shards, which restore your melee, and again, if you're out of rotation, this gets your melee back. Same with the Facet of Command, which we've already spoke about. Then we have Facet of Purpose. Picking up an overpowered grants either amplified, restoration, frost armor, woven mail, or overshield based on the damage. So because you're stasis, you're going to get frost armor, which helps you be more durable. So when you're in there punching things close to a lot of enemies, you're going to be able to take a lot of damage too. Then we have Facet of Bravery, which isn't necessary for this build, but if you have some really good strand weapons, you are going to naturally be proccing Unraveling Rounds because you are punching everything. So it's not a bad one to choose. However, if you don't want to use strand weapons, you can have a look at what else to put on. Then I have Facet of Ruin. Increases the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a stasis crystal. You're going to be freezing a lot of things with your dodge, with your grenade, with your super, so you can have that blow up in a further AoE range and kill a lot of enemies. Now, I haven't fully completely went and found every little perfect fragment to have. This is just what I enjoy doing, and it's fun. Then for the mods on the helmet, if you can afford it, I just don't have any mod thing in the front. You know, you can throw on a little one if you need to, but dynamo ×3. So reduces super cooldown when you're close to your targets. Actually, I'm going to throw discipline on there. I didn't even realize. So yeah, 3 of these means that every time you dodge near an enemy, which is what you're doing anyway with the dodge meleeing, you're going to be building up your super very quickly. And I mean very quickly. For the arms, we're going to go with heavy-handed twice, because that will give you an overpower every time you punch someone, which is what we're doing anyway. For the chest, any resistances you want. For the boots, we're going to have absolution. Reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an overpower. You can swap this specifically to be innovation, so you get grenade back. Because you're constantly going to be going backwards and forwards, meleeing and dodging, you don't really need to get ability power for everything. But I just used it because I thought, oh, if I'm out of rotation or anything happens, then orbs of power will be able to get everything back at once. But if you're good at your rotations, you can just get grenade energy back and throw your grenades out. And then for the class item, to get a grenade back anyway, you're going to be using bombers ×3. This will give you the ability to have your grenade cooldown every time you dodge. So basically your dodge melee just becomes ridiculously overpowered. It gets your super back really, really quickly. And then your super can be used to keep on rotating through your super. So it's basically an ability spam. This is, you're barely ever going to use your weapons, so you can choose whatever weapons you want. I go with the call for those unraveling rounds. I do have the new scintillation linear fusion rifle, but it's on my warlock. And then anything that's close range weapon, in my opinion. I just picked up the Shayura's Wrath yesterday, and I'm very excited about using it. So all of this together just makes it an absolute phenomenal build. Now, when it comes to getting your super back, there has to be a lot of enemies that can take a lot of hits. But I have noticed that sometimes the super energy return is wildly inconsistent. The footage that you saw a little bit earlier was me doing it on the Pale Heart on a whole bunch of little enemies, so it was killing them a lot quicker, rather than whether you're in like a GM and you got a high level enemy and you're constantly getting hits on it. That will return less energy to your super than it would be to kill them. So you're aiming to kill enemies with your super to get more super energy back. That means that this will thrive in lower tier stuff, so like your normal Nightfalls, your Gambits, etc. You're going to get more energy back. However, even if you don't get half your super back, if you get even 1/10 of your super back, you're going to be able to build that up so quickly with the dodging and punching mechanics that we have put into this build. And then because you're not just totally relying on just punching and meleeing, we throw in that threaded spectre, so you can do big AoE damage very, very quickly. It's just all intrinsic with each other. Now, most supers are like 8-minute cooldown. If you pump up your intellect like I have on mine, I have 86 intellect, you will get a 6-minute cooldown. However, with the energy returning and just general gameplay, you will get your super anywhere between 1 minute if you're really fast and there's a lot of enemies to dodge by, to like 3 minutes at the very, very tail end of it. Like if there's not a lot of enemies around and you have to go find more people, it'll be about a 3-minute cooldown. But anywhere between that 1 and 2 minutes, you can really, really get a lot of ability energy back, specifically super energy, to just keep throwing out supers and keep throwing out abilities. I love this build, which is strange because the other version of this, just the basic version, I didn't like. I found it boring. I found it trivial. It was just like punch dodge, and it was just like, ugh, there was no real like return from it. But now I get super from it, but also as well the threaded spectres just adds another little layer of damage to it and just makes it more fun. I just love this. Let me know what you're thinking down below about this class. If you have little tweaks you want to make to it, let me know down below also. And it's just a shame that this build comes from an exotic class item. Like I said before, I'm not trying to make builds with exotic class items, but when I have something like this that's incredibly fun, I really hope that other people can try it out too. Thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.